Hello and welcome to this demonstration of our work on the 3D Data Container and Tiles API pilot. My name is Annalie from Helyx and we are responsible for a server-side implementation of the API on the project. Some of our key successes on the project were to serve 3D objects, textures and point clouds using the draft 3D Tiles pilot API, to provide a mixture of i3s and 3D Tiles content, including federated server content, and to incorporate a third-party converter service to provide i3s data as 3D tiles. Our implementation is a Dockerized container on Azure. It is composed of HTML and JSON representations with the API. So when we were at the HTML landing page, we could link through to the definition of the API on Swagger Hub and to the conformance classes, along with a link to the collections. Once we enter the collections, we can see that we can change from HTML to JSON and see the collection format with the description of the collection, the 3D extent, the content, and the links. So if we go through to the New York collection, we can see individual collections can be represented as 3D tiles or as i3s, and we can visit the root nodes of each. The clients can then do this to pull in the data and can also query it using the bounding box parameter. Within the Montreal collection, we can see that we can represent different types of 3D data, so 3D objects or point clouds, and these can be represented in different ways. As well as the HTML and JSON representation of the resource, with our server we link through to locally served static i3s scene layers or 3D tiles content, and we are also showing converter i3s content to 3D tiles using a third-party converter, so the client itself doesn't have to use the converter. We can then pass this texturized building information or LiDAR data into the clients to be queried and visualized. So firstly, you can see the 3D city data with New York content being pulled into the Skymantics client. Secondly, you can see the content being pulled into the Cesium client, drilling down through the API to discover the different layers. And here we're going to pull data in from Montreal, both point cloud data and also 3D tiles buildings, which will actually be coming from an i3s data container and is being converted on the fly. And here we see the same building service being overlaid as i3s. So you have two different formats served from the same server and ingested by the same client. We also have services going into the STGeo Portal. And here we can show a basic bounding box query that only pulls back data contained within the bounding box. Here we will show the i3s data loading into the client for New York. And then we're going to widen the search and bring in some data for Montreal, and then show that the attributes are also coming through correctly. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch our contribution to the pilot, and we encourage you to watch the other participants' videos.